what are global governments doing about this? Or is that a really dumb question because it's just obvious they would do nothing? But what's the UN doing about this? Like, where is the world as a whole sitting on this? Or is it just like climate change? No way, nothing.
Yeah, so when you mentioned movies, The Sound of Freedom, like there was like 7, 8 operations that went down to make that movie, right? It's fiction, as Tim, but there's a lot of the guys that's the original team basically of working. So we're all kind of still connected in that space, and we all pretty much work well together. What is the government doing, right? Like that's why it's bringing awareness. If you look at funding operations, let's just take the U.S. So in the U.S., you have a thing called asset seizures, right? So they fund police budgets, their black budgets, their overtime, all their budgets are funded through asset seizures. People don't realize that. And so the way that works is, so if I work a drug case, I can seize the car, depending on the state, I can seize the house, I can seize everything, and I can sell them. Doesn't matter. Well, in a child crimes case, you can't, because most likely the child is at home. Like stranger danger is only like 3 to 5%. It's usually somebody that knows that individual that's around there, so they can't seize it. So case in point, my office in North Carolina that I had in Charlotte, like I had 13 agents for federal, so HSI, FBI, State Bureau investigators across the whole state of North Carolina, my office. When I was at Homeland Security, I had 13 federal agents just working MS-13. So there is a flaw in the system across the board of the war on drugs versus and I got shit for doing this on the podcast, but I said we spent $200 million or $200 billion in Ukraine. If we would have spent $1 billion in child trafficking in the US, you know what that damage that would do? If we would have spent $5 billion, like it was insane of like the amount of money that is not put into this fight. Now, whether it's systematic, I stay out of conspiracy theories. I stay out of the other BS. Like I really care about like, where can we make a difference? How can we bring awareness? And I would challenge you all is like, ask your politicians before you vote, like, where do you stand with child crimes? Like, what are you doing about child crimes? Because laws are going down the other way. Like some countries, some states are really increasing the laws, but like, what are you doing to protect our children? Because I mean, that's the reality. It's not a coincidence. Every time you go to Orlando and they do a sting operation in Orlando, you get 3 to 5 Disney employees. Predators prey. They put themselves in a situation they can prey on the weak, right? And so you have to understand that like there's a flaw across the board. And then we try to fight this as best we can with politically of dealing with it. Like, how do we change laws? How do we make sure we get funding into it? So
wow. It's sad that it's money and agenda driven, and same for the UN. Like, is it like not really solvable?
I mean, I don't know what the UN does anyway, so
yeah, good point. And Bass, to your point though, but the fact that what Bass just said about it all being related, cut one, yeah. I mean,
the children are in the adults are more profitable, right? They turn them out over. Like drug it's a quantity, right? You have a drug like animal, with the poaching, they only have so many ivory horns that they can take, right? With a human, it's just as long as they can keep them.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, it's terrible, film. Right? And I'm trying to keep this as light.
Your background is fascinating. Your background in your office. Did I know?
Oh, thank you.
That?
That's the
left and the right.
I was away. My daughter made a little artwork thing up here. So
I know, and then you've got all the
great
stuff
balance,
on the wall.
dude. It's great balance. Child artwork to RPG.
Medieval helmet, just in case.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to make a joke or something. That's yeah. Well, thank you.
No. It's good seeing you again. We had a great time out in Aspen. I hope to be at another event in the future.